Hi, friends. I know. It's a little early. It's 5 in the morning, police at my door. But, sure, you could easily enough say it's too early for you to be live streaming there. Why are you even awake? I don't know why I'm awake. I don't have any Adderall today. Or Term, which is horrible. I'll be lucky if I have any even on Thursday. Today feels like Adderall day. I'm up early. Even though I took Havaplanopin last night, I can't even sleep then. Because I'm full of energy, verve, and vigor. If you like verve and vigor, you're in for a treat today. But it's kind of like imitation verve and vigor. Not adequately fueled verve and vigor. Like, sure, I might get a couple things done today. I could conceive of myself snarl? Is that what it says? I can't read that last word. Snarl would make sense. So, I think I have hopes. Oh. I have hopes that this upcoming bottle of Adderall may correlate with, like me getting some projects worked on a little bit. I'm not even aiming for done, right? Like, I'm not aiming to get projects done. That's too high a bar. I could just get some projects worked on. That'd be great. Dave Mustaine, in his famous collaboration with Dave Matthews. On their hit song, "We Don't Know How to Make Music. Why are you still buying it?" Well, Boba Fett, I'm going to go ahead and credit you with a powerful laxative effect today. Because I'm feeling like just maybe a cigarette or two away from pooping, and that's pretty great. One thing I have on the schedule for this morning's lecture, and is pretty important, is I'm going to check to see how the short I put up last night is doing. I would expect it to do very well. Why? Because it's a great short. It's called Bucks Do the Safety Dance. And I snippeted a little bit of these Tampa Bay Buccaneer players doing this silly dance they were doing after they got a safety. And I made a short with the song Safety Dance. It's exactly the sort of short that should do super well if there's any justice in the world, because not because it's a great short or anything, but because it's what people want in shorts. I guess in that regard, it's a great short, but I don't know how really great anything that's like 9 seconds can be. But I like working in that medium. I certainly seem to attain a lot more success in that medium. Shorts than longs. Where did I leave my coffee? Well, I just walked in the house with a lit cigarette. I don't do that very often, but I didn't smoke it in there. I just walked in and got my coffee. I was thinking of an analogy, which is actually why I titled this live stream Analogy, Engine of Understanding. Like Fly Guy was coming in yesterday and talking about, Jung actually said this, it was misinterpreted by these people, blah, blah, blah. Jung described a house that nobody'd ever seen before or heard of before. He did a great job of describing it. He said, there's a long hallway about this long. Meow, 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 meow. He described all kinds of things in the house. The thing is, it's a mistake to think that Jung's description of a house qualifies as blueprints. If I'm going like, I'm a draftsman / architect. Here are the blueprints for how to build this house that Jung described. It would be silly to go, well, that's not how Jung described it. Well, that's because Jung thought these holes here that have water in them were individual bathing tubes. It's actually part of a water filtration system. Do I have a question to check if somebody is an INTP? I have multiple questions that I use to check. It can be hard to distinguish them from ENTPs. It can even sometimes be a little hard to distinguish them from INFPs because they're both deliberative types. They both have strong access to TI usually. Well, yeah, Jung was a house describer. He described a brilliant house. He described a bunch of horrible houses too. What Jung definitely was not is an architect or a draftsman. He did not know how to do more than just describe a house. And then you have a bunch of people since also not being architects or draftsmen. And then you come and go, hey, these are individual bathing tubes, according to Jung. Well, yeah, he got that wrong. Those aren't individual bathing tubes. It's part of a water filtration system. Well, I mean, they're not hard reads. They're just full of dead ends, right? Because, when you get to the borderline where you have to transition from holistic to deconstructed, it's just a bunch of dead ends. Like Ian typed himself as an INTP. As if. As if, motherfucker. Hi, show media. I will tell her happy birthday. I purchased for her a gift yesterday on the internet. It's a gift that I bought because I think the name of it is hilarious. Yes, that's right. Last night, I bought a bottle of perfume for Rachel called Youth Dew. Youth Dew. It smells like babies mixed with Mountain Dew, apparently. Youth Dew. Ridiculous. But we're going to get a variety of perfumes in. I want to copy this video that Rachel watched and enjoyed a lot, which this woman has her husband like blind taste test, not blind taste test, blind smell test, a bunch of different perfumes, and then rate them on a scale of 1 to 10. I think that sounds like a fun activity. So, if we go to Oakhurst today, which we might, because we still need to return those Christmas decorations. We tried to return them last Friday and the lady wasn't there, even though she had said she was going to be there. So today, if we do go down there, we will call and confirm that she's there before we leave the house. Right before we leave the house. Like last week, I called on Thursday. I said, are you going to be there? She said, yeah, I'll be here today and tomorrow all day. But when we got down there tomorrow, she was not there. That's a good starter poop. I wouldn't expect that poop to, carry me forward through the whole day. Welcome to a very short, boring week. Boring week is the week that occurs after Sleepy Week, but before New Adderall Week. That's what I call boring week. But this week, this boring week has been short. I did a good job of making my Adderall last this month. The help that Ruben gave me a few of them. Now it's time for me to check how my short's doing. Yes, that's right. My short now has 1,192 views and 28 likes and 2 thumbs down. Who would thumbs down that wonderful short? I don't know. My snowflake glitch in the sim has 3,000 views. Anybody who thumbs down my safety dance short, they just do not understand good shorts. Okay, show media. I was wrong. Instead of wishing Rachel a happy birthday, we'll wish her a happy birthday. That seems fair. Tuesday. Today's Tuesday. It's not Monday. Boba Fett. Yesterday was Monday. It didn't seem like a Monday because it was Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And it prompted me to ask a pretty important question yesterday. If on Martin Luther King Jr. Day, I made a snowman of Martin Luther King Jr., but then used charcoal to give that snowman blackface, would that be racist? It's a pretty important question. I will wish her a happy birth rise as well, yes. When she rises. She probably won't rise for quite some while. Gobtree, hello. I don't know if everyone's well, but I am, and so is Christopher Caesar. You can dance if you want to. You could leave your friends behind. The thing is, you can only make so many shorts realistically. Because, I mean, I could force shorts. I could make a bunch of shorts about nothing. But normally, I have to have an idea of some sort first, Oh, kitty, man. You're so silly. This kitty is so silly. Coach Red Pill died? He wasn't that old, was he? I didn't know that there was news about dead YouTubers. Well, $12.20. They are not particular individuals in and of themselves at all. I mean, I wonder what this guy thinks I am. I want him to classify me. Am I a beta orbiter? Am I a white knight? Am I a cuck? He was tortured basically and held captive in Ukraine? What was he doing in Ukraine? "55 is very young. I'm only 52. I'll be 53 pretty soon. Rachel's now 39. He had a wife and kids? He seemed like such a toxic fuck. Well, I mean, he was Ukrainian, living in Ukraine, and making anti-Ukrainian government videos rather than anti-Russian videos? He was Chilean. Go to another country and marry a local. Because I guess American women just thought he was a fucking scumbag. You know? Like any sane person would. I mean, I'm not one to celebrate someone's death. Certainly not as a political prisoner, you know? No matter how wrong he was about women and how just like constantly projecting his own insecurity as confidence. Niebuhr, he definitely was not ENTP. Dear A-specific woman, would you like to be treated like an object? Remember, as a woman, you are your reproductive urges. What a dick cheese that guy was. See, do like me. Do like me. Go to a foreign country where women are treated worse, and then maybe one of them will put up with you. Just because he likes psychedelics doesn't mean. I think he said he was Chilean. I mean, obviously, I'm opposed to all kinds of political prisoner shit, you know? Nobody should face force or violence or imprisonment for speaking their mind. Even when they're saying stupid ass shit like that fucking guy was. So what do I think about it? I think Ukraine can suck it for that, you know? It's like, that's even worse than what eBay did. If you guys weren't around for this eBay story yesterday, oh my God. What a crazy story. There's this couple, this like regular couple of people, like in Michigan or something. And they had an eBay newsletter that started saying some critical things about eBay. And then fucking eBay. This is the funniest story I've heard in a long time. eBay decided to get all like, keep in mind, we're talking about eBay, right? We're not talking about whatever. Um, they said to get all like gangster movie on these people. They mailed them a bloody pig mask. They mailed them a aborted pig fetus. A book on surviving the death of a spouse. Like, you can't get much more indirect death threat than that. Do I still think C.S. Joseph is an ESTJ? I don't know if C.S. Joseph is an ESTJ or an ENTJ. I'm very sure he's a TE though. I know that he's painfully unfunny, horribly inadequate in explaining things. and kind of pathetically hanging out with college kids. Carlos says ENFJ. Christopher agrees. I mean, his FE's not very good. He's like, his TE is, he frames everything through TE. Well, just because you don't like someone or is fucked up doesn't mean he can't be ENFP. No, there are plenty of ENFPs I don't like. I don't like Barack Obama. He's an ENTP. I don't think much of Jon Stewart. He's an ENTP. There's lots of ENTPs I don't like. What matters isn't whether I like them or not. What matters is what I don't like about them. You know? Well, Christopher Caesar, you're not alone there. You're like 99% of people who dabble in typology, they're just wrong about it. If you parsed adequately what I was saying and tested it objectively against without any, preference either way, and were capable of doing those tests, then you would agree with me. So there is no different model, right? Remember, this is where the analogy thing comes in. There are lots of different ways to describe a house, and you're describing a house in a different way. You're calling that blue paint azure or something, and that's fine. But when I'm a draftsman / architect, so remember, your descriptions of a house are not blueprints. What makes my explanations blueprints is I have everything operationally defined and defined within a frame where I know what typology is attempting to do, what I'm attempting to do with typology. If you don't know what you're attempting to do with typology, then you can't possibly be right about it. That's the most clear revelation of the last few years for me, is that the big problem with typology is people don't have a clear understanding of what they're attempting to do with it, right? They want to explain things in isolation with it. They want to confirm, like their own creative idea over what's accurate or whatever. That's all fine and good, but typology is not astrology. It's not endlessly open to different interpretations, each of which is equally right and wrong. But I get it. That's not fun, right? It's not fun to learn something rigorous from Eric. What's fun about that? Nothing. It's just like school. School sucks ass. Everybody knows that. In fact, I think we can all agree, probably, that there's nothing in the world that sucks ass quite as much as school. So I totally get it. I don't want to go to school either. But I guess the difference is I understand what I don't understand. Well, despite living in the horrible reality of no Adderall, I am nevertheless going to clean this cat litter box. Wow, that's really stepping up my game. It's things like this that make me hate myself a little bit less. Good job, Eric. You cleaned the cat box. Or I should keep a ledger. -1 self-loathing points. I think I deserve -1 self-loathing points. So, frankly, out of 6 football games this weekend, there was only one good football game. But, you know, I enjoyed watching them anyway. Slavic/Russian culture tends to be respectful towards women. Well, if you think respectful is everybody must wear high heels, I don't know. I mean, there's no way to be respectful to women, respectful to men, right? The only way to be respectful at all is to respect individual human beings for their individuality. You can oppress women like Muslim cultures do, but you can't really respect them, right? You respect any individual woman by treating her as a human being. Same as you respect any individual man. If you're trying to coach red pill shit, then you're just a fucking scumbag. And that's all there is to it. Okay, well, the thing to remember, Christopher Caesar, is neither of us know what type C.S. Joseph is because neither of us have typed him. I've offered to type him plenty of times, but he doesn't want to be typed. So remember that, Christopher Caesar, that you and I can totally disagree on C.S. Joseph's type, but we should both agree that neither of us know. It is very difficult to type people from the chat or even their media. I can usually eliminate certain types with a certain amount of exposure to certain things, but nobody can type somebody without actually typing them. Maybe I can debate him one day. Christopher Caesar, for C.S. Joseph to debate me, he'd have to be something other than a TE Dom. There's no practical benefit for him debating me. He's not interested in the truth. He's got a money-making machine / young co-ed delivering machine to him. Right? That's why he's doing a typology channel. It's not to explain things. It's not to answer questions. It's to make money and get chicks. Now, if you think that's an ENTP move, well, you don't understand ENTPs very well. Eric better have got you something he can't afford. Oh, I did. We made reservations for a restaurant on Wednesday. We would have gone today for on her actual birthday, but it was closed on Tuesday. And it's the fanciest restaurant in the Madera, Mariposa County area. We've never been there before, but it has a set menu and it's expensive. I feel fine about it because I've been musing about going to this place since we first moved here. So at this point, it's going to be almost a year since we moved here before we actually went to this restaurant. And the restaurant's so fancy that, no, I don't think smoking weed has anything to do with anything. Um, it's so fancy that when I called to make reservations, they said, "Are you celebrating and something special or whatever?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's my wife's birthday." And they said, "Okay, well, we customize the menus." Okay, cool. Customized menu. But the nice thing is, even though we're going out to a super indulgent, fancy dinner, and it's going to be super expensive, it's not going to be that expensive because we don't drink alcohol. It's not going to be as expensive as it normally would. Because, like, if we drank alcohol, then we'd get the wine pairing that goes with it. The wine pairing for it's a 5 course preset dinner, right? And the wine pairing alone costs an extra $90 a person. So we're saving $200 just by not drinking the wine that goes with it, you know? So that's good. But anyway, it's a very fancy restaurant. Like, you have to give them your credit card just to make a reservation. Well, ISTPs have excellent NI, as do ISFPs. It's third slot, and in the absence of any other kind of intuition, it shines clear as day, you know? Well, it doesn't impact me at all. I mean, in the best case scenario, when the weed is working somewhat, like these bongers first thing in the morning, they start to hit my head a little bit after if I pull enough of them, you know. The best case scenario, what weed does is make me feel agreeably and pleasantly a little bit more dumb, which is one of my very favorite feelings. That's why I really liked DMT a lot, you know. Um, DMT always made me feel so dumb. It's my favorite feeling. Yeah, well, I mean, weed's just, it's barely a drug. It's barely more of a drug than cigarettes. But that's really, in some ways, why like DMT is kind of my favorite. You get all DMT'd out and you're just like, hi, everybody. Well, Christopher Caesar, if you need to get your hands on DMT, then what you need to do is get, like Google. I don't know how you look, where you find this information. Maybe you use a different search engine than Google, but look up how do I buy drugs off the dark web? Because basically, you'll need to get some Bitcoin in a real crypto wallet. Use that Bitcoin to buy Monero, which you can't buy on like Coinbase and shit. And then use that Monero to buy drugs off the dark web. And there's a certain protocol you use to encrypt your address when you send it to the seller. I've never done it myself, but that's just because I'm so fucking lazy. It's like if I had any self-respecting get up and go, I would already be doing that. Speaking of Monero, do I know who Luke Smith is? No, I don't know who Luke Smith is. But Monero is ideal because it's the darkest of coins, carrying no record whatsoever of any transaction specifics. That's why it's the preferred coin of the dark web. I mean, weed's reliably uneventful. I never get high enough to really feel like, yeah, I'm on drugs. Okay. So, in honor of Christopher Caesar's concentrate preference, I'm going to put a little bit of concentrate on this bong rib. There. Now I put a little bit of this concentrate on this bong rib, and I will pull it through for the goodness of all. No, I think Jack from WSS is an ENTP. And a great example of how being an ENTP does not mean you are correct. I debated Jack. He debated like an ENTP. Sure. he dissembled the whole time, but that's certainly within the range of expressions of ENTP that exist. I don't do that. That's because I'm correct. I don't need to dissemble. I will answer questions directly rather than play nibs, you know. Well, you can't really define anything. Whatever bullshit he was saying. Oh, you watched it, huh? It was very frustrating for me because he just ran around running away from me. It was like Mike Tyson chasing somebody around the ring, you know. Like, stand there and get hit, motherfucker. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, you can see with Jack and me is a perfect example. Two ANTPs, both in typology. One of them me, the other one just a regular ANTP. But clearly the same type. And then you put CS Joseph next to us, clearly a different type. You put Club ENTP next to the two of us, clearly a different type. Put Melissa Talks next to us, clearly a different type. There's, for example, Becky, Planet Ketchup. I despise the woman. She's a horrible, toxic person. But indisputably an ENTP. Compare her against CS Joseph, Club ENTP, Melissa Talks. The difference is striking. Compare the three of us, Becky and me and Jack together. The similarity is as obvious as the sun hitting you in the face. I like Jack. I don't have any problem with Jack. He's wrong. I find his dissembling annoying, but I don't dislike him at all. I do not like Becky. Jack's just young, you know. He's further along than I was at his age. I mean, maybe not in terms of debating, because I had already debated in high school, you know. That whole like running away and not answering questions things is just fucking. Oh, like I just feel like I understand him so well. Like this is wild, reckless, untrained ENTP-ness. Where he's been able to just sort of craft the FE landscape successfully by dissembling, never learning that you can't play fast and loose with explosives. You gotta respect the power of words. Now and forever. Baby, I can't wait to know. What do you think about things? Believe me, I will always be here, so you can tell me anything and I'll listen. You can tell me anything and I'll listen. It's got kind of a weird rhythm to that last part because he changes it in a couple of spots too. Your dog has swag. I'm glad to hear that. Swaggy. You should call him Swaggy. You just might find you get what you need. What do I need, K.E.? And when am I going to get it? I don't know what I need. I would like to have, anyway, I probably don't need this, but I would like to have a 15-minute sit down face to face with God to get some, purpose questions answered directly. Then I'd probably be better able to answer the question, what do I need? What do you need is a depressing question because it forces you to consider what you could not do without. What you want is just a confusing question. Okay. You got none right now, and it's going to eat you up from the inside. Okay, kitty. Well, I don't think it's going to eat me up from the inside. I think that I'm in a protracted fallow period. I think it's important to fallow sometimes. I think it's coming to an end. But I think it's important that you leave your creatively fallow periods be fallow, and recognize that when the soil's bursting with fertility, you will not be able to stop yourself from growing plants. The thing is, I had a very long, extended period of creative output, I wouldn't know what to do with myself if I had nothing to look forward to. Well, I think that's a different question than a question of purpose. Like, I was looking forward to those football games yesterday. That's why I don't like Tuesday. There's nothing good on TV on Tuesday. But looking forward to things is inadequate to provide you a sense of purposed activity. As an action type, I ultimately need to feel as though what I'm doing has some impact that matters, which is different than impact I can measure, because it's like part of my period of fallowness links to a growing awareness of the pointlessness of putting up things that are successful just because they're successful, which has been driven home by shorts. I could go around and film 5 or 10 15-second or less shorts involving some kind of construction vehicle, okay? Like, a big grader or a big pusher machine or something, and make some comment about it like, I wonder what kind of machine this is, or this is a strange looking machine. I wonder what it does. And it will guarantee every time get 3,000 to 5,000 views, maybe as many as 10,000 views. And invariably some comments telling me what it is. So now reimagine the conundrum I'm in a more interesting way than to simply say I'm purposeless and that's the problem. Should girls have them? Fuck buddies? I guess it would depend on the individual person and what they want, in both long term and short term. You know, if you plan to get married at some point, probably know now that whatever promiscuity you engage in will either hurt your future husband retrospectively or make him feel unsafe and or be something that you keep secret. Consider that possibility. But that might not matter to you, you know? And it might not be, it's probably not all kinds of guys who feel threatened by that at all. The days go by quickly, Diana. They don't end. What about when the sun goes down? I think that qualifies as the end of a day. Well, okay, KE. You win the point. I stand corrected. That's what happens when you make a good argument. No, it doesn't depend on that, really, Diana. It depends on what Kay said. Because different guys are going to react differently to it. And you don't know what kind of guy you're going to get with, then it doesn't make sense to make decisions now to proof against the future, you know? So I agree with that argument. No, I've never typed any famous people. Like, hey, you might not know what kind of husband you want either. The thing is, preserving preserving future opportunity as a general rule is not a bad notion unless it comes at the expense of something that's important to you now, right? If it's really important to you now to have a fuck buddy, then that's what you should do. You're pretty famous in your own head. Caroline's not a girl. EHP, you're not cut out for it since you don't know yourself. IG, whatever weird FI you have going on. Yeah, I don't really know myself. I don't like FI very much. You're not a possession. Your body is not like some prize to be won. Mine is. Rachel won it by being my perfect other. My cock is Rachel's most precious possession. Yeah, that makes perfectly good sense here, Lamb. I feel very fragile emotionally when it comes to women, you know? So it is the case that if you plan to someday marry somebody like me, you'll be doing your future husband a favor by not being promiscuous now. Whether you think that's worth doing or not, I don't know. My FI is tender as a chicken tender, which, according to its name, is quite tender. Yes, exactly, KE. The fewer other men that she has to compare me against, the less far I am from the top of the list. Yeah, promiscuity in your mind is pretty effortless. Yeah, but it doesn't work like that. It's more like it's much more likely to play out narratively as um, somebody a bunch of other people tried out and discarded as inadequate. Because each of those narratives has equal validity, you know, because each affords one person all the agency, right? That's what's wrong with both the narratives, is they afford one person all the agency. On the other hand, a comparison of like quality of lovers is an actual comparison. That's what makes it unsafe, is its power narratively. And the reality that unlike men, women actually do sort of have in their head a list of like best ever or whatever. So it's an unfortunate fact that somebody who's really aware of narratives and super objective can't avoid but understand. It can't avoid understanding it. We might prefer your your single agent interpretation, which is just as reductive as my single agent interpretation. But to do so, we'd have to prefer something other than the truth. A lot of dog action going on. It's not just that dog, it's some other dogs over there further away too. I wonder what's going on. Maybe they saw a bear or something. Or a deer. Or a Sasquatch. Or a rabbit. Or a robot. Maybe they saw a robot. Anyway, I'm sure the vast majority of men are not as beta and sensitive as I am. So you could probably get away with it fine. Beta sensitive is a good name for like an artist who maybe has a band with him, but like somebody like Johnny, but more emo. Beta sensitive. I think that's a great name. And then just do like really misogynistic gangster rap. Or just mix in an occasional really misogynistic gangster rap among your normally very beta sensitive songs. I think that would probably confuse people. No, it doesn't have any bearing to your commitment to somebody at all. I'm not saying that at all. I'm talking about FI stuff. Okay. I'm saying that I know from my experience that even thinking about Rachel having previous relationships hurts my heart. You know, it's also something like I need an accounting of all the major relationships so I know her history to some extent. Her who she was before me, but like obviously Rachel was not promiscuous prior to getting with me. I think I got lucky. I got somebody who had never been married, had no kids, no tattoos, no venereal diseases. What more can a man ask for? So I'm just saying that if no, I did not ask Rachel for a complete rundown of previous lovers. I did ask for, I think everybody should ask for a rundown of previous significant relationships. As you get to know somebody, you're going to hear stories from the past, right? Like, this reminds me of the time that I went to Phoenix. Oh, when did you go to Phoenix? It was with Bob. Who's Bob? You know? As I said, I haven't dated much myself because I don't like people easily enough to date them. But it's also not a very good sign in my eyes if that's a criterion someone chooses for me, even. Chooses me for, even. What's your body count? Tell me now. Yeah, I don't think it's a good question to ask people. I never asked Rachel that question. If you're dating a killer, I think it's important if you're into that. Yeah, that's a good point, show media. I mean, you need to know something about the person you're dating regarding who they were before you got with them. Um, oh, that's a horrible story, Boba Fett. It makes me sad to hear. Anyway, I don't know why we're getting into this sad topic. Well, I do know somebody brought up the topic of fuck buddies, and I expressed my feelings about it. You know, that I'm obviously projecting my own perspective here. But my perspective is that happiness is being with the right person with as little baggage as possible. A new relationship should be just you, and then why drag their past relationships into it? That's weird unless you have some cuck bend. No, well, studies have shown that people tend to feel jealous about different kinds of things. For example, some people are jealous about emotional connections that somebody else has, either currently with other people or in the past, close relationship they had with somebody that was maybe very stormy or whatever. Some people feel jealous about sexual partners, previous sexual partners. Jealousy is a natural part of human mating, right? Well, that's easy for somebody who's backslot SI. Okay? Backslot SI is a blessing that NI users should not underestimate the value of. Front stack SI tends to remember and remember and remember the same bad things over and over again, intrusively. I agree, Boba Fett. I'm not saying one should indulge in this jealousy, that this jealousy is good or that it makes sense. It's FI. Of course, it doesn't make sense. That's FI's specialty. You know, Rachel worries about my compatibility with some famous celebrity like Kate Hudson. I don't even know what Kate Hudson looks like. How can she be jealous of my compatibility with this celebrity? It makes no sense to me, right? But does that make more sense to you, Boba Fett? Because uh, it's jealous about your current partner and some future possibility, whereas jealous about some past partner that actually was is not legit. They're both silly, right? They're both silly. They don't make any sense. Hi, my darling. Obviously, if I'm spending time fretting about something that's long done and is not in Rachel's mind at all, you know. Well, then I'm not doing myself any favors, right? I'm not saying that I should be engaging in that kind of behavior. The only thing I was saying is that that is going to be a consequence of current promiscuity in some relationships potentially in the future. Whether the guy is very good at recognizing the pointlessness of that jealousy and trying not to dwell on it and stuff, or not very good at it, regardless, it's going to be there. If you're with a certain kind of guy, is that enough reason to prevent yourself from doing what you want now? Probably not. If you're the kind of person that wants to have fuck buddies, then I'm sure it's not a good enough reason. But, I'm beta sensitive. So everybody just needs to respect my tender feelings, okay? Why won't you please just understand me and respect my feelings, okay? You don't know me. You've not walked a mile in my shoes. That's a very FI perspective, Caroline. It doesn't matter if the chick loves you. Well, Rachel loves me, but still, lots of other things matter in life besides that, you know? Like, if she loved me a lot, but periodically punched me in the face, we'd have a problem. Love you, Pops. Am I Pops? I am a father. I have a child. I need to call her. Just say hi. It's been a while. See how she's doing. Eric looks ordinary. I feel ordinary. I feel ordinary like an Oregon ferry. Presumably ferrying people from the shore of Oregon to some nearby island. Hard to say. Not sure how much of a need for ferries there are in organ. There is an organ. I look like I stepped out of a Clint Eastwood film I didn't want to be a part of. Yeah, well, I don't think it's going to go down that way. What do you think about that as a line for that movie? So I think Ruben and Acacia are probably going to be leaving sometime today because I know Ruben's plane is leaving Burbank tomorrow. I've got the biggest muscle of all, the heart. That seems like a little saying that would be put in front of some dumbass picture of like crystals or like a woman walking down the beach in a flowing dress and it says on it, the biggest muscle is the heart. What do you think about that? Are you taking food upstairs for Capilla?
Yeah, but she already ate. She's been like in and out, kitty.
I see. Happy birthday, Rachel.
Thank you,
Okay. Well, it's back to the poop chamber. Rachel's 39 years old now. She made it 39 years. And congratulations to her. Growing old. It's nice to grow old together. What a depressing thought. I identify with that John Mayer song where he says, I'm only good at being young. I'm still quite good at being young, but I'm not as good at it as I used to be. The basic rule of youth is this: eat, sleep, rave, repeat. So, Now as I get older, it's more like eat, poop, sleep, eat, sleep, poop, pee, rave, repeat. Uh-oh. Well, I think I got lucky here. Yeah. I'm out of toilet paper, but the good news is the piece I ran out of toilet paper on was just the confirmation wipe piece. So I'll get more toilet paper now, but I don't need to I don't need to wipe anymore. So excellent good fortune there. These are paper towels, which is not what I'm looking for. These, on the other hand, are toilet papers, which is what I'm looking for. So I've got an activity that I could do that I think we might all enjoy a lot, but that probably we won't enjoy at all. But it needs to be done anyway. And that is, I could go get the trash cans from the street and bring them down here. I've already cleaned the litter box this morning. I'm on a roll of productivity. Let's put this back where it's supposed to be. Because it went to sleep. One. There. Meow what? You should store your toilet paper near your toilet. Well, it's near the toilet. You know, I try to keep an extra roll on the back of the toilet. But in this instance, I got behind, you know. That's why I took 2 rolls. What stack is weakest for intuition? It depends what kind of intuition you're referring to. If you're talking about NI, then the weakest stack is probably ESTJ. If you're talking about NE, then the weakest stack is probably it's probably an even split between ISTP and ISFP. Yeah. I got sloppy. I got sloppy in my TP maintenance protocols. And I deserve to be critiqued harshly for that. That's fair. I'm not going to learn any other way unless I get critiqued harshly for that. Oh, that kind of intuition? I don't know. I don't know what that seems like maybe an FE polar thing. I love all of you hurt by the cold, so hard and lonely too when you don't know yourself. I don't know that song. Whenever I still stay to watch Eric poop, I feel worse about myself, to be honest. I'm like, you have too much free time. Oh, I was expecting you to be like, I I'm like, I need to poop more. That's where I was expecting you to go with that. But instead, you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be spending my time watching this man poop. Oh, it has utility. You got to hear some real, um, poignant existential musings while I pooed, K.E. I mused about aging and death without really using the D word, you know. Trouble? Hey, trouble. God damn that cat. The title is RHCP. What is RHCP? Muse about Lao Tzu. The best musing about Lao Tzu is no musing at all. You have yet to witness my poignant existential musing? You didn't hear it when I was pooping? I was saying, I was saying that we're getting older, etc. You didn't feel the poignancy in your heart? Well, that's because you're bipolar, KE. You don't know how to feel. You're dead inside. Okay. What do you want? You want me to watch you eat more? This cat. After I watch this cat eat, I think it'll be time for me to go back to bed. Here. I end up dealing with a cat upstairs. She's frustrated because Computer's playing In and Out Kitty. So she carries food upstairs to her. She's just like yell at her and say, go away. But who am I to be saying that as I'm currently being enslaved by this cat again? You're such a controlling kitty. Well, go ahead. Eat your food. Eat it with your mouth. Eat it with your mouth. Eat your food with your little mouth. How do you eat so much food, Trouble? You know what's the most boring sport of all? I watched it the other day for like, I don't know, 5 minutes or something. Sumo wrestling. Oh my god. How boring a sport is that? Like each match lasts like 10 seconds and it's just one guy pushes the other guy out of a circle. It's just, how can anything be so boring? I want to get like Etsy or something to send me some crazy shit in the mail. Like eBay did to those people. Oh, eBay, what were you thinking? How much mukbang do you require? All right. Finally, I'm done with my cat watching duties. eBay needs some SSRIs. I think they need some benzos. They need to chill out. Do you have the patience to wait until your mud settles and the water is clear? It depends. You have the compulsive desire to hug people at work sometimes, but it's weird, so I usually invent reasons why I should. Like, I need to pat down your jacket. Well, KE, you're not. You don't need to worry about that. You're you're very cogent um, dispatching of my my FI prioritization advocacy was classic. TI. Uh, no, I think Kurt Cobain was an INFJ. Uh, you keep all of your rolls near the toilet. Well, here's the thing, JB. That might be something we do going forward, but for the past year, we've had we had a huge box of paper towel rolls, so big that you couldn't possibly fit them all in the bathroom. But now we've transitioned to we have just a few of those rolls left, and I started buying regular rolls. So I may keep all the rolls in the toilet as well going forward. That's good TE advice. So I want to thank you for that. And that's why it's clogged. Good job, Kay. You get a wonder point for that terrible joke. All right, so I'm going to wrap it up. I think I'm going to go to sleep again. I mean, you could argue INFP if you wanted to, but his shit's too effy crafted, in my opinion. Well, whatever. We'll never know because Courtney Love shot him. Allegedly. Allegedly. Oh, yeah, they're typing for me. Thanks for reminding me, Winston's mom. All right, then. Oh, cool. That'd be nice, Rachel. That makes me happy. All right, I'll see you in a little bit. Goodbye, everybody.